Along with this, they wanted to drive a 2% sales growth, which proved to be difficult considering the fact that in the year 2009, full-calorie mainstream beers sales growth decreased by 3%. And finally, they wanted to incorporate a viral online component to expand their reach, setting an objective of at least 500,000 visits. So, which major brewing company has the exclusive rights to beer commercials for the Super Bowl?
Bud Light or Budweiser?
Yeah, Anheuser-Busch. So, after they had completed all their research and had outlined the objectives, High Life developed their strategy for the 1-second ads. With the ad campaign, they wanted to drive sales and they wanted to get past Anheuser-Busch's exclusive rights to Super Bowl beer commercials. In order to do this, High Life purchased airtime from individual NBC network affiliates in the key markets, which allowed them to break through the exclusive rights of Anheuser-Busch. The concept for this ad campaign, besides being groundbreaking in its uniqueness and creativity, it gave High Life the opportunity to reinforce their brand value and their common sense positioning, which we'll get to in a second. The ad campaign also gave them the opportunity to showcase the major differences in brand values between themselves and Anheuser-Busch, which for that Super Bowl had planned to air 10 commercials, each costing $3 million for every 30 seconds of airtime. The theme and main message of the ad campaign highlights the fact that High Life has too much common sense to spend that much money on 30 seconds of airtime. High Life is a high-quality beer with an even better value, and the brand stands for common sense. Based on this, it would make no sense at all for High Life to spend millions of dollars on Super Bowl commercials. Like their consumers, High Life makes smart choices, and they'd much rather spend that money on investing in ways to better their product. And they also believe that 1 second of airtime is more than enough time to remind people about the great value of High Life and the fact that it's a very high-quality beer. High Life had a plan when they came up with the ad campaign. It was much more than a simple ad. It was a strategic PR plan. They knew that the media focuses just as much attention on the commercials as they do the actual game for the Super Bowl. So they used this knowledge and they came up with this unique and creative ad that would create buzz around the brand.
Okay, so the Super Bowl of 2009 took place in the middle of the recession where families were really suffering the loss of jobs and homes. So Miller, like Palmer said, Miller High Life decided that they weren't going to spend the average $3 million. They only were going to spend $100,000. That gets you 1 second of airtime. And so for this 1 second ad, which really if you blinked you would have missed it, they had to put together a PR plan that would build up the commercial before the game. So that included a USA Today feature article which really launched the campaign. And in that article, USA Today talked about Miller's guerrilla ad tactic being utilized and how it was representative of the brand. Instead of just spending a whole bunch of money on a great, flashy Super Bowl commercials, they were using their money wisely, but they were also utilizing social media and blogs and things like that to build up the hype around the commercial. And also, in the days leading up to the Super Bowl, they would play ads that basically talked about the 1 second ad, or that would kind of, talk about Anheuser-Busch and how they are spending too much money. And they also launched a website, which was www.1secondads.com. It doesn't exist anymore, but on the website you could have looked at Miller's mission and the High Life brand history, and then they had other commercials. And they also put the bloopers up from the 1 second commercials, the ones that didn't make it. And so we had the commercial with the ad.
Alright, well this is the 1 second ad that aired. They have they have a minute and a half worth of these, but this is the one that actually aired during the Super Bowl. Hi! That was their entire ad for the Super Bowl. But other than that, these were the other ads that they did for 1 second. Alright, so y'all get the idea.
Okay, so just how well did they do this campaign? Let's go through that point by point on objectives. So the first objective was to generate extensive media coverage as well as consumer buzz. They actually got cover. Besides, the campaign actually paid off way before the 1 second ad was even aired because of their ads that were commercials for the 1 second ad. They were actually covered in 5,000 newspaper, TV, radio, and online stories, including a story on USA Today, which has a national readership. And then the second point, they wanted placement in 20 key highlight markets, as well as at least 3 national placements. They actually ended up in 250 highlight markets, and that's not even including the New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles key markets because of NBC rights problems. And the 3 national placements were actually exceeded by 1. They were actually placed in The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, ABC World News Tonight, The Bonnie Hunt Show, and Good Morning America. As far as like the sales growth, they consider the 2% objective to be very challenging because of the declining economy and also just the general market for that kind of beer. But they actually exceeded themselves by 4 times over by selling 9% more during the Super Bowl and 5% more in the week before the Super Bowl, and it maintained an 8.6% sales growth afterward. So that was really, really successful, keeping in mind that they did not get air in Chicago, New York, or Los Angeles.
And also remembering that for that same category, sales growth for that beer had declined by 3%.
Yeah, definitely. And then the final component, which is also very important, they wanted 500,000 visits for their website and their YouTube channel, which they created their own Miller Highlight 1 Second YouTube channel. These 2 components actually ended up garnering more than 3 million visits. Currently, the campaign was in 2009, and unfortunately, Miller High Life has not really kept it up. They do keep the delivery guide, like that's like their staple person right now. And they still have 2 of the ads, the previous ads on the website, including the teaser ad for the 1 second ad, which was 30 seconds long, but the actual 1 second ad itself is not on there. And then the YouTube channel, the last time I checked, has been inactive. They actually pulled off all of their 1 second ads, so that's pretty sad, even though they still have subscribers. But of course, you can always go on YouTube and like search for 1 second ads, and there'll be a lot of them. And people are still looking those up. I've seen comments within like this month, what month is this? Like September and October 2012. And then as far as like now, they're actually running with a like totally different campaign, like totally different aspect of everything. It's called Give a Veteran a Piece of the High Life. The delivery guy is still a part of this campaign, but 1 second ad is completely not. Oh, and also the website, now you click, if you look for this, 1secondad.com, it's a blog about some dad. That has nothing to do with anything, so it's one of the things that we thought they could improve.
So, after what you've seen, do you think that the 1 second ad could be successful for other companies, or should they just leave it to Miller High Life to do the 1 second ad?
I think it was more effective at the time because, like, as you said earlier, like the recession was a driving force behind it. So, I don't think it would be as effective if they did it today, just because of the social factor.
We thought that the 1 second ad really worked because they used a figure that was well known in the brand. If they had introduced another concept, it might not have gone over as well. But since the Miller High Life delivery guy had been around for a year already, and there were tons of commercials, we thought that's what made the 1 second ad